I like documentaries that get into weird subcultures and unusual people.
It's in the crate!
Where is it?
It's in the crate!
It's not in here. It's not in here.
Pine nut,
Hazelnut,
macadamia nut.
cashew nut.
Do you have your busy bee with you?
Go to the hotel and get busy, bee!
Yes, I just got done watching the mockumentary Best in Show.
Did you enjoy the fake ride through the world of dog show owners?
At first, I did not. It wasn't until they basically were starting to conglomerate at the show itself. And then I started to enjoy it. When Fred Willard comes in as the announcer, that's when it all clicked.
In LA, I went to one of those obedience places once. It was all going well till they spilled hot candle wax on my private parts.
I felt like the movie needed him as kind of the stabilizing force.
As much as, like you said, you like the characters, Fred Willard and Trevor, Jim Piddock, I think his name is, they're so great because even though Fred Willard is the funny one and crazy, it's Jim, his straight man.
Oh, that's what makes it funny.
Yes. I almost felt like they brought a real person in. He's not actually an actor.
But yeah, I mean, because Fred Willard's humor is terrible. It's dad humor. It's bad, cringe-inducing.
It's sad to think, when you look at how beautiful these dogs are, to think that in some countries these dogs are eaten.
So who were your favorite characters? Like, I feel like anybody that watches this movie tends to pick the people that they enjoy like watching most.
It's by far the country guy with the hound dog. I think by far. He was he was just so low key, and the best dog. I mean, that dog should have won Best in Show.
I mean, you can't find a better dog on the whole planet Earth. Even if one day they land on some other planet, you couldn't find a better dog.
There were portions when I liked the couple, Parker Posey and
Michael Hitchcock, yeah.
There were times when they were fun, but then there were also times where I'm just like, get off the screen already.
You been talking to her?
Of course I've been talking to her.
What have you been saying?
When mommy and daddy make love, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Sometimes.
I did also like the other couple. What's his name and what's her name?
Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, yeah.
Yes, Eugene Levy's always great, and Catherine O'Hara is also always great.
God loves a terrier. Yes, he does.
I loved the running gag of basically her just constantly running into people she had banged, and how strangely casual they always were about it. Like, oh, hey, oh, nice to meet your husband. Oh, by the way, remember that great sex that we had? It's just so absurd, but that was a great running gag.
You know, I banged a lot of waitresses in my day, but you were the best.
You don't forget the best.
No.
I enjoyed their relationship in it because I liked that she embraces that she got around a lot when she was like in high school or whatever. But I love that she like sincerely loves her husband.
Yeah, she just had a fun and wild youth. Like, not a big thing. And he, and the husband's sort of like bouncing back and forth in between just being like, hey, what's the big deal? She's allowed to have her fun too. And also being uncomfortable with it because he's constantly running into the guys who take it way too far. Like they're overly personal.
Cookie Googleman? You look fantastic.
You've grown.
I'm growing right now, girl. Just looking at you. One and only time I've ever done it on a roller coaster.
And then some of the other characters just didn't like a Glee coach and what's her name?
Jane Lynch and Jennifer Coolidge.
Okay, whatever. I could like take them or leave them, like that whole, both as characters and their little arc.
Sherry Ann and Leslie showed up, and their generosity has turned this humble little kennel.
It was a shit box.
First half needed, for me at least, was a narrator. Like I wanted to know, where's the filmmaker? There should have been the filmmaker. Right. Who would have been the grounded portion of things. You've got all these wacky and zany characters, but then there's the grounded person who's just there documenting all this thing.
Right.
Which is what the role the announcers sort of played in the second half. The first half lacked that. I think that's why the first half didn't click with me.
I did always feel like they should have gotten to the event sooner. It is pretty far along before they get to the event, and that's what everyone always remembers. So if they would have moved it up a little bit, like if it was the first act was what it was, and then the second and third act was all at the thing, it would have moved a little bit better.
And look at that. The judge is going to look at him and say, hey,
I think that whole first half probably could have been cut in half. So much of it was setting up the characters, and you get the point pretty quickly. Once it's established who these people are, okay, now put them in a room together so we can watch the personalities bounce off one another. But there actually wasn't really that much of that. There wasn't a lot
don't
of
really come in contact. I think Jane Lynch at one point goes to see the hound dog. I think they're all at the party, throw that big extravagant party. And
yeah, there's very little of that, which surprised me. I figured that would kind of be one of the big things. It's right. You're painting all these zany characters, and then okay, now what happens when you throw them into a bowl together and stir them up?
You must be very proud, Mary. Proud, Mary.
Oh my goodness! Who are you all of a sudden?
I'm a huge Parker Posey fan. I can't get
straight.
enough of her character in this though. Them two, even though they're cliche and they're like so typical, it just kills me every time though, because they're so over the top in the way that they just go about screaming at each other. And
What do you see in front of me? See a big blue ribbon. It's right here in front of you. You want it? You come and you grab it.
She's not
get that
listening
ribbon.
to you. She's freaking
Well,
out.
get the busy bee.
I like the little subtle touch, like God knows why, but the fact that both of them had braces just for some damn reason.
and she actually had real braces put on for that. I did think it was funny how the girls end up getting together.
And she.
Wow.
And then they open up a magazine. What was it called? Like lesbian
Something
women
bitch.
dog owners.
American Bitch, the dog magazine for women and their dogs. A focus on the issues of the lesbian purebred dog owner.
It's like, speaking of mockumentaries and the fake documentary style, this is, and I know it's a small thing, and some people are going to be like really, this is something that took you out of the movie, but it did repeatedly take me out of the movie, was using too many cameras and framing things as if it was a movie as opposed to a documentary movie. There's one when a couple of couples are having dinner together. The son's there and all that.
Mhm.
And there's this one very short stretch of that, maybe 30 seconds, a minute or something like that. And there's at least 7 different camera angles. I think I lost track at 7, and there might have been even more. And I know it's a ridiculous thing, but I'm like, this is a fake documentary, except this is playing like a movie, not like a documentary. When you're
Yeah.
watching something like this, you want to buy into it. You want to feel as if like, okay, yes, I'm along for the ride, and I'm going to pretend that this is a real documentary of like zany people.
With the parachuter. Oh, goes up and down like this.
Honey, no. Don't let it fall on your food. Mommy's not mad, but don't do that, please.
Yeah, and to be clear, I really enjoyed the second half. I'm not saying that this was a dud for me by any means. I just had a hard time in the first half. The second half was a lot of fun. So in that second half of the movie, it's still the same thing. You're still following this cast of zany characters and their ridiculous behavior and their outbursts. You know, Parker Posey's outbursts, but they sort of anchored things. Willard and his co-anchor or co-announcer anchored the second half in a way that it gave it focus, gave everything focus, made me enjoy the second half much more than I did the first half.
Ouch. Am I seeing right? Where's she putting her hands now?
Yeah, I did like there were chunks in the first half that I definitely liked. There was the bit that you were doing pine nut, macadamia nut.
So I'd go to sleep. She'd hear me in the other room, and she would just start yelling. I'd say, peanut, hazelnut.
That was really great. Yeah, all the stuff with Eugene Levy.
And his 2 left feet. Which
Yes.
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was born with 2 left feet.
Whatever, ridiculous gag, and that was excellent to have in there. I was glad that I stuck with it after feeling that sort of slow start, like, okay, come on now, give me something here, give me something.
Look at me. Don't look at anybody else. Don't look at the fat ass losers or freaks. You look at me.
I like documentaries that get into weird subcultures and unusual people. Expectation wise, I think that maybe I was looking for a little more of that. I thought that maybe it was going to be much more of a send up of dog culture and dog show culture.
I mean, don't you feel like though that's exactly how like the characters in this exist?
Well, yes, yeah, they definitely do, and it became that. I guess that's my point. It became that in the second half, but in the first half, it was more of establishing who these wacky characters are.
Right.
But it wasn't getting into their obsessions over, except for the younger couple.
Trish has been showing signs of depression.
She's also been very, very angry with us ever since she saw us having sex. Come on, honey. Mommy and Daddy are over here.
And in a lot of ways, you could have, like, the conceit of this is about the dog show, right? But in some ways, you could have kind of removed the dog show element, and it could have been anything. They all could have been showing up to this thing for almost anything.
Yeah, like baking cakes or something.
A spelling bee or
yeah.
And it kind of wouldn't have been all that different of a movie.
Why didn't you tell me that before? Thanks for your help, you stupid hotel manager!
Oh boy.
You're gonna head back mid-1970s at its very worst and watch the science fiction classic Logan's Run.
This is the 23rd century, where sophisticated technology has created an automated world of wonders. But in the 23rd century, life lasts 30 years. When the crystal in the palm of your hand flashes its final message, your time is up. A fantastic adventure through the 23rd century. Logan's Run.
I'll watch it and I'll return here to discuss it with you and everyone else. Leave comments down below for maybe about what your favorite mockumentary is.
That sounds good.
And check out our Patreon at Nerd Out With Me so you can get these videos a little bit early. I was Tig and that was Eric, and thanks for hanging out at the movie club.